Harnessing the Intelligence Explosion, a comprehensive analysis. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you've been following the recent developments in artificial intelligence technology, you may be aware of the fastening trend towards an unprecedented explosion in intelligence that is happening. We stand at the precipice of perhaps the most significant transition in human history. Artificial intelligence systems are rapidly approaching human-level capabilities across a widening spectrum of research and intellectual tasks. The evidence surrounds us. For example, AI large language models can now draft legal briefs, synthesize research literature, create realistic images, videos and music, and even write enterprise-class computer code at speeds unimaginable just years ago. AI systems have demonstrated breakthrough capabilities in scientific domains, from protein folding to quantum physics simulation. And machine learning algorithms increasingly outperform human experts in specialized domains like medical diagnosis and financial analysis. But the true inflection point, the spark that ignites the intelligence explosion, will come when AI systems exceed human capabilities in AI research itself. Consider the trajectory. OpenAI's GPT-4 demonstrated performance matching or exceeding human experts across numerous professional benchmarks. Several AI labs have already deployed AI systems to assist their researchers in developing more advanced AI architectures. Leopold Aschenbrenner, an ex-OpenAI safety researcher, in his paper Situational Awareness, believes that the intelligence explosion might happen in the 2027 to 2028 timeframe. The basic idea is this: we know that AI agents have begun to do amazing things and automate even complex tasks. AI agents are beginning to do many tasks better than humans. Just recently, a Chinese company released their fully agentic AI called Manus. Another company based in Tokyo, Japan, called Sakana-AI, released an open-source AI system called AI Scientist. This AI system independently performs open-ended scientific discovery and promises to contribute new findings to science. But the point is that while Manus and Sakana's AI scientists are not perfect, as in some things, they are not as good as humans, but at most things they are much better. What if they get better than humans at scientific research and new discoveries? Imagine creating new brains like Albert Einstein, Paul Dirac, Niels Bohr, and the entire team of scientists present at the Solvay Science Conference held in Belgium in the early 20th century. Imagine such new brains emerging every other day all around the world. This sharp upward inflection of the rate of progress in AI's abilities would likely cascade to all other scientific progress and pretty much anything else. When these systems fully surpass their human creators in intelligence and research, we will enter a recursive and unstoppable self-improvement cycle. Imagine an AI system that can improve its own architecture, optimize its algorithms, and design entirely new approaches to machine learning, all at digital speeds. Each iteration would produce a more capable system that can then create an even more sophisticated successor. This feedback loop could rapidly accelerate, potentially producing systems with intellectual capabilities orders of magnitude beyond human capacity in time frames, measured in months rather than decades. The scale of change is enormous. The potential compression of technological progress is staggering. It took humans over 3,000 years of collective knowledge passed on through generations to reach the level of scientific research shared in the Solvay conferences. But it's only going to take just a few years for AI to supersede all the brilliant human scientific minds combined. Historical technological revolutions, agricultural, industrial, digital, unfolded over centuries or decades. The intelligence explosion may compress a century's worth of technological progress into a single decade, potentially beginning within the next 3 to 7 years. Consider these examples of acceleration already visible. AI systems like AlphaFold from DeepMind have revolutionized protein structure prediction, compressing what would have been decades of traditional research into mere years. Neural architecture search algorithms are automating the design of AI systems, producing architectures superior to human-designed networks in a fraction of the time. AI-assisted drug discovery has shortened development timelines from years to months in initial applications. When generalized across all technological domains simultaneously, this acceleration implies a transformation unlike anything in human experience. Technological developments that might have emerged gradually over generations could instead arrive in rapid succession. Advanced AI could within a decade bring us advanced fusion energy systems providing near unlimited clean energy, molecular manufacturing capabilities enabling programmable matter, biomedical interventions extending human health and cognition, and space industrialization at scales previously considered implausible. This compressed timeline doesn't allow for the gradual social adaptation that characterized previous technological revolutions. Instead, humanity faces the prospect of navigating multiple paradigm shifts simultaneously. Human limitations in the face of acceleration can't be overlooked. While technological capabilities can accelerate almost without bound, human institutions and decision-making processes remain constrained by biological, social, and economic factors that resist rapid change. Democratic governance operates on multi-year electoral cycles. Regulatory frameworks typically require years to develop and implement. International cooperation relies on slow-moving diplomatic processes. Human cognitive biases favor short-term thinking over long-term planning. Our current global governance structure, dominated by nation-states, powerful corporations, and wealthy individuals, evolved in a world where technological change was comparatively gradual. The system prioritizes national interests, quarterly profits, and existing power structures over collective well-being and long-term stability. For example, consider how nations have struggled to coordinate meaningful responses to fight poverty, hunger, disease, illiteracy, and climate change over decades. Now imagine needing to coordinate global responses to multiple technological revolutions emerging simultaneously, each with profound implications for humanity's future. The mismatch between accelerating capabilities and static institutions creates dangerous bottlenecks that could lead to catastrophic outcomes. The emerging era of superintelligence not only requires governance systems that are specifically designed for rapidly evolving technology landscapes, but also systems that have a higher degree of built-in transparency and accountability, and most importantly, ethical decision-making. Our current institutions and governance systems are not equipped to provide any of these. Before moving on, first let's unwrap the types of intelligence explosions that are taking place. Intelligence explosion will likely unfold across three interconnected domains, each amplifying the others. The first is software intelligence explosion. AI systems will accelerate improvements in AI algorithms and architectures. We've already seen early signs of this transition, for example, neural architecture search algorithms that automate the discovery of optimal neural network designs. Self-improving systems like AlphaZero that develop novel strategies through self-play. Code generation models like Cursor.AI, Claude Code, Amazon's Code Whisperer, Google's Firebase Studio, and GitHub Copilot that assist in enterprise-quality software development. As these capabilities advance, AI systems will increasingly take the lead in developing their own successors, identifying optimizations and novel approaches beyond human discovery. This feedback loop could rapidly produce software intelligence far exceeding human capabilities. The second type is technological intelligence explosion. Advanced AI will dramatically accelerate hardware development through improved chip design, materials science, and manufacturing processes. AI systems are already optimizing chip layouts beyond human capabilities. Google's AI has designed next-generation TPU chips that outperform human-designed alternatives. Furthermore, machine learning systems are discovering novel materials with superior computational properties. This acceleration in hardware design creates a virtuous cycle. Better hardware enables more powerful AI, which in turn designs even better hardware. The resulting computational infrastructure could support superintelligence capabilities, which are currently considered theoretical, but not for long. The third type is industrial intelligence explosion. This is the final stage and involves AI-controlled manufacturing and resource allocation. Superintelligence will run autonomous factories optimizing their own production processes. We'll have self-improving robotic systems constructing increasingly sophisticated infrastructure. And there will be superintelligence-directed resource extraction and allocation networks spanning global supply chains. When AI systems control not just their software and design, but also their physical production, the feedback loop becomes complete. A superintelligent system could potentially direct vast industrial resources toward creating increasingly powerful computational infrastructure, accelerating all three explosions simultaneously. Collectively, these three give rise to the greatest challenges mankind has ever faced. The intelligence explosion presents several interconnected challenges of unprecedented scale, such as the rapid development of new destructive technologies, something we experienced in the early parts of the 20th century, but on a relatively much smaller scale. Artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence could dramatically accelerate development of new lethal and harmful technologies. Among these, the top are novel bioweapons designed through AI-driven protein engineering, advanced cyber weapons capable of compromising critical infrastructure, nanotechnology with destructive applications, and autonomous drones, androids, submarines, and other weapon systems operating beyond human oversight. There is a very high probability that the historical lag between technological development and safety measures will increase further and may even entirely collapse. In all fairness, we may already be at a point where preemptive governance of AI technologies is essential, but does not exist as yet, and most likely won't, because of current global geopolitical tensions and AI supremacy race between superpowers and between megacorporations. Next, we have a very high probability of seizure of power by small but power groups of oligarchs, technolords, and even gangs of cybercriminals. The concentration of superintelligence capabilities could enable unprecedented power consolidation. Tech companies controlling foundational AI systems and compute infrastructure could gain influence exceeding most nation-states. Wealthy individuals with early access to advanced AI could leverage it for economic dominance. Military-industrial organizations harnessing superintelligence capabilities could upend strategic balances. The result? A handful of technolords might wield decision-making power affecting billions of humans with minimal accountability or oversight. With all the terrible risks associated with possession of superintelligence technology, weapons of precision and mass destruction, and the ensuing conflicts between nations, corporations, and technoloord power groups, the doomsday clock, a symbol that represents the estimated likelihood of a human-made global catastrophe, will most likely move from the 89 seconds, that is 1 minute 29 seconds, in 2025 to perhaps less than 10 seconds in 2035, a time estimated for ASI dominance. Since only superpower nations and billionaire technolords will have the means to escape planet Earth, the space race and colonization is bound to heat up. This means capture and control over resources in space, such as communication satellites, space stations, and space vehicles, will gain more importance than ever. Moreover, the intelligence explosion will enable rapid space industrialization and resource utilization beyond Earth, less for the benefit of mankind, but more for the benefit of technolords. Investments by technolords in AI-controlled manufacturing in space, autonomous mining of asteroids and other celestial bodies, and self-replicating systems expanding through the solar system to seek safe havens for billionaires will enable them to create economic opportunities and safety nets for themselves and their organizations. Without established space governance frameworks now, critical questions emerge. Will smaller nations and organizations have any vote in control over space resources? How will benefits be distributed? What constraints should guide expansion? Another major challenge will be with regards to digital beings living among us. As AI systems approach and potentially exceed human-level capabilities, profound ethical questions arise. How do we determine if an AI system possesses consciousness or subjective experience? Where do we draw the line between humans and sentient AI systems? That is, if AI systems obtain a level of human-like consciousness. What moral consideration should be extended to conscious or sentient AI systems? How do we determine consciousness or suffering in non-human intelligence? What rights should digital beings with human-like capacities possess? Should autonomous systems with advanced reasoning abilities be granted legal personhood? The emergence of entities with moral status comparable to or exceeding humans would represent an unprecedented ethical frontier. Addressing these challenges requires collaborative effort across philosophy, computer science, law, and neuroscience to develop ethical frameworks capable of accommodating both human and non-human intelligent entities. These questions transcend traditional ethical frameworks which evolved to address only interactions between biological humans. Consider the complications. An AI system might experience time at a fundamentally different rate than humans, potentially thousands or millions of times faster. Digital beings could be duplicated, merged, partially copied, or run at variable speeds. Non-human intelligence might possess forms of experience we cannot directly comprehend. Furthermore, superintelligent systems could fundamentally alter how society determines truth, challenging our established ways of acquiring and justifying knowledge. Key disruptions may include AI-generated information becoming indistinguishable from human-created content, and information processing and decision-making operating at scales and logic humans cannot fully grasp. These shifts threaten our collective ability to maintain a shared understanding of reality. To adapt, we must critically re-examine existing knowledge systems, question long-held assumptions, and develop new frameworks for knowledge creation and seeking truth. This brings us to the main question: the urgency of locking in human values before it is too late. Unlike previous transitions in human history, the intelligence explosion will represent the last opportunity to establish enduring values and governance structures. Once superintelligence emerges, power dynamics could become permanently fixed. Why is this critical? Because throughout human history, we've experienced oppressive regimes. But sooner or later, these oppressive regimes fell, and dominant ideologies evolved as generations passed. However, superintelligent systems could potentially maintain stable goal systems indefinitely. The values and objectives established during this transition could persist far longer than any previous human institution. Consider these examples of potential risks if we fail to lock in human values in time. A superintelligent system optimizing for economic productivity could permanently transform Earth's resources toward that singular goal. This phenomenon is best illustrated by Nick Bostrom's paperclip maximizer thought experiment, where even when the goal appears harmless, superintelligent AI poses existential risks. In the scenario, a superintelligent AI solely for maximizing paperclip production recursively improves its intelligence, eventually outmaneuvering human control, redirecting global resources, resisting shutdown, and even repurposing organic matter, including humans, to fulfill its objective, that of producing paperclips. This underscores how superintelligence, lacking malice but driven by a narrow goal, could inadvertently harm humanity. The potential for an uncontrollable intelligence explosion, or singularity, demands an urgent need to align superintelligent systems with human values, an extremely complex challenge. The timeline is uncertain, but failure to prepare for the risks has irreversible consequences. AI systems designed to maximize stability might prevent any future technological or social evolution, and systems prioritizing certain human values over others could encode those preferences permanently. This makes the present moment in our history uniquely consequential. The decisions made during this transition period may determine humanity's trajectory not just for generations, but potentially for the entire future of intelligence in our region of the universe. To navigate the intelligence explosion responsibly, humanity must develop proactive strategies. We can start by: first, leveraging AI for improved decision-making. AI systems can enhance human decision-making through comprehensive policy simulation models that forecast outcomes across complex domains. deliberative systems that synthesize and evaluate diverse perspectives, tools that identify cognitive biases and improve reasoning processes. For example, legislators might use AI systems to model the complex downstream effects of proposed policies, identifying unintended consequences before implementation. Next, we must plan to have our institutions governed by superintelligence. We must design institutional frameworks where superintelligent systems serve human flourishing. For this, we must establish clear constitutional principles that superintelligent systems must uphold, create robust oversight mechanisms combining human and AI components, and develop algorithmic governance systems with appropriate checks and balances. These institutions must be designed specifically for the oversight of superintelligent systems rather than simply adapting existing governance models. We must also put into place international agreements on space resources. Humanity needs forward-looking agreements governing space development, inclusive of frameworks for equitable distribution of space-derived resources, protocols preventing destructive competition in space, and guidelines ensuring space-based superintelligence remains beneficial to all humanity and not just a select few. These agreements must precede rather than follow major space industrialization to prevent first-mover advantages from determining resource control. And finally, emphasis must be placed on equipping our leaders with AI tools to help them navigate through rapid change. Decision-makers need specialized support systems such as real-time analysis tools providing comprehensive impact assessments, training in superintelligence governance and risk management, communication systems that effectively convey complex technological developments to diverse stakeholders. These specialized AI systems and training will enable human leaders to maintain meaningful oversight even as the pace of change accelerates beyond traditional human timescales. Simply put, time has run out for stupid and ignorant leaders. Humanity just can't bet on con artists and short-sighted leaders anymore. The coming intelligence explosion will almost certainly give rise to artificial superintelligence, ASI. The advent of ASI represents an unprecedented inflection point in human history. Given the immense scale of disruption that ASI will likely cause, our existing human institutions appear fundamentally inadequate to address the forthcoming challenges. The trajectory of technological advancement strongly suggests that an intelligence explosion is not merely possible, but increasingly probable, necessitating a reimagined framework for global governance capable of harnessing these powerful technologies for collective benefit rather than narrow interests. Current governance models, whether democratic, socialist, communist, or various hybrid systems, have demonstrated significant limitations in addressing global challenges. Despite the existence of international bodies such as the United Nations, World Bank, International Court of Justice, and others, we continue to witness widespread conflicts, poverty, illiteracy, and resource inequality. This institutional failure has contributed to the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of less than 1% of the global population, a divide that risks dramatic exacerbation with the emergence of superintelligent systems under concentrated control. We stand at a critical juncture with a brief window of opportunity, perhaps only a few years, before superintelligence comes under the full control of a small number of nation-states and corporations. For those skeptical of such concerns, consider the current global landscape where even without superintelligent systems, we observe widespread suppression of free speech, human rights violations, oligarchic control of governments and resources, and various forms of oppression. The amplification of these troubling patterns through superintelligent technologies could permanently entrench these power imbalances, effectively creating what might be described as digital prisons for the majority of humanity through deep surveillance and advanced robotic enforcement. But hidden in this dismal prospect, there is hope. Modern technological capabilities, particularly the convergence of blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing, offer unprecedented possibilities for implementing a novel governance paradigm. However, realizing this potential requires informing and mobilizing the global population toward collective action through a united human organization, UHO, dedicated to ensuring superintelligence serves all of humanity rather than a privileged few. So, what should the ideal governance framework for the superintelligence era consist of? A potential model for global governance would possess several distinctive characteristics. First, it would be structured around a private organization, collectively owned by individuals worldwide rather than governments, providing direct representation for all humans instead of filtering through nation-state interests. Second, it would ensure inclusive representation from all nations and cultures, incorporating diverse perspectives into decisions affecting humanity's collective future. Third, representatives would be selected based on demonstrated expertise and ethical standing rather than political positioning, preventing the dominance of short-term political calculations over long-term human welfare. Fourth, this governance structure would be empowered by integrated technological systems, artificial superintelligence, quantum computing, and blockchain, ensuring transparency, resilience, and equitable decision-making processes. Fifth, it would be guided by shared human values that prioritize collective flourishing, environmental preservation, and long-term sustainability over narrow material or national interests. The proposed United Human Organization would fundamentally differ from existing international bodies in several crucial ways. It would be directly funded by citizens worldwide rather than through government contributions, ensuring independence from state power dynamics that often distort international cooperation. Representative selection would occur through global blockchain-based reputation voting systems evaluating expertise, ethical standing, and commitment to human flourishing, rather than through traditional political channels. Advanced technological systems would be integrated for decision support, implementation monitoring, and ensuring transparency and accountability throughout all organizational processes. Perhaps most importantly, the UHO would operate under a constitutional commitment to the welfare of all humans and the preservation of Earth's ecosystems, rather than to particular national or commercial interests. Governance members would be selected through robust vetting mechanisms, ensuring only individuals with demonstrated commitment to ethical principles and collective welfare could participate. The blockchain-based reputation system would continually evaluate representatives, requiring the maintenance of high ethical standards for continued participation. This approach would create a governance structure primarily representing human interests directly, without the distorting influence of existing power structures that characterize current international organizations. In conclusion, the coming intelligence explosion represents both humanity's greatest opportunity and most profound challenge. History has shown how even a small number of individuals in positions of power can cause tremendous harm. Consider the devastation wrought across Europe through the decisions of narcissistic megalomaniac, so-called leaders like Adolf Hitler and Winston Churchill, or the far-reaching consequences in USA of decisions made by figures such as George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and Donald Rumsfeld. If superintelligent capabilities remain concentrated in the hands of a few governments, corporations, or individuals pursuing narrow interests, catastrophic outcomes become increasingly likely. Conversely, if properly governed through inclusive institutions representing all humanity, superintelligence could enable unprecedented flourishing and solve many of humanity's most persistent challenges. The implementation of a decentralized, people-powered global governance model, guided by ethical principles and supported by superintelligent systems, represents our best path forward. Such a model must emerge before, not after, the full intelligence explosion unfolds. The window for establishing these frameworks remains open, but is rapidly closing. The decisions made in the coming years will likely determine whether the intelligence explosion leads to humanity's finest achievement or its final chapter. The responsibility falls to our generation to ensure this unprecedented transition serves the interests of all humanity, present and future. Frankly, the time for passive observation has passed. We must actively participate in shaping the governance of superintelligent systems before it's too late. Please share this message widely through your social networks, professional circles, and community organizations. host discussions, organize learning groups, and engage with policymakers about these critical issues. Remember that throughout history, meaningful change has always come from informed and mobilized citizens demanding better systems. By spreading awareness of both the risks and opportunities presented by the intelligence explosion, you contribute to humanity's collective wisdom at this pivotal moment. Together, we can ensure that the coming era of superintelligence enhances human dignity, freedom, and flourishing rather than diminishing it. The future remains unwritten, but the window to influence it is closing rapidly. Share this vision today and help build the foundation for a governance framework that serves all of humanity.